All right, good evening. This is a special meeting of Livingston's Planning Board, and notice of this meeting has been published in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Mr. Ratner? Here. Mr. Diner? Here. Ms. Fass?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Here.
Mr. Dufford? Here. Ms. Vishnu?
Here.
Ms. Khanna?
Here.
Vice Chair Santola?
Here.
Chairman Fernandez?
Here.
We have a quorum. Mr. Reber and Mr. Butani are not present this evening. We have our board attorney, board planner, and assistant township engineer.
Thanks, Jack. If you can call the first matter.
That matter is a continued from June 16, 2026 for preliminary and final site plan for Block 100, Lot 3.01, 630 Route 10, application number 2022-9-PFSP, an amendment for Spectrum 360 LLC.
Thank you. And welcome back.
Hi, good evening, everyone. John Wichiscala. It's my pleasure to be here tonight on behalf of Spectrum 360. This is an application with respect to Spectrum 360's new lower school, which is located at 630 West Mount Pleasant Avenue. Property is identified as Block 100, Lot 3.01. We are looking to have this school open and operational for the new school year by September 1st of this year. Board may recall we received preliminary and final site plan approval with respect to this school project back in 2022. We actually came before the minor site plan committee with a perimeter fencing plan back in 2024, which was approved at heights of 4 feet and 5 feet. Our administrators were very concerned with respect to that, and that's why we filed this amended application seeking approval for a 6-foot decorative fence around the entire perimeter, basically in lieu of those 4-foot the 4-foot fencing. You heard testimony back on June 16th from the Spectrum 360's Executive Director, Ken Berger, as well as Brian Conway, who's our project landscape architect, designer of the fence, as well as our professional planner. The board had some reservations and some concerns, largely because I don't think we had sufficient exhibits to show the nature and extent of landscaping that was proposed. Actually, originally part of the minor site plan committee approval, and I think you wanted to see better exhibits to understand, what's going on out here. We are proposing an open, that black aluminum type fence. Actually, I think it's probably the identical 6-foot high fence that you see when you drive down Route 10 past the Eisenhower corporate offices, where I think I'm not sure who's in there, the Verizon building. The only difference being we're actually proposing landscaping in front of the fencing rather than behind the fencing. So with that, I think I'd just like to recall Brian Conway. He's made a revised submittal that went in a couple of weeks ago. And we've got some exhibits and so forth, and we're going to show you what it's going to look like, and you have a better understanding of what's being proposed and why it's being proposed. I'll remind Mr. Conway he's still under oath. And I assume your licenses, you were qualified last month, everything is still in good standing?
Everything's good. Thank you.
Nothing has happened between then and now?
No, sir.
Great.
I'm just going to go through my entire testimony because I tried to abbreviate a little bit last time, and I think that's maybe some of the trouble too. So if there's a little bit of repetition, I apologize, but I just wanted to go through methodically kind of what we're doing and how we're approaching this. So I'm here tonight to discuss the amended site plan and security fencing for the Spectrum 360, a school for special needs students. The school is at the old Catherine Gibbs building on the corner of Oakner Parkway and West Mount Pleasant Avenue. We brought the original site plan application before the planning board and received approval on May 17, 2022. In 2024, the school administration asked for additional fencing to enhance student security, and a minor site plan application was made, which included 5-foot high fencing around the perimeter of the parking lot on the West Mount Avenue side of the building, West Mount Pleasant Avenue side of the building, and the exit doors on Oakner Parkway. The minor site plan committee approved the plan on September 5th, 2024, with the requirement to reduce the height of the fence around the parking lot to 4 feet and increase the size of the plantings. The school renovation project is now in full swing, with the school scheduled to open in September. The administration and staff have been out to the site during construction and have reaffirmed their concerns about student safety. The school administration has asked me to revisit the security fencing to increase the height of all fencing to 6 feet to help to protect the vulnerable students. The increase in height is necessary to prevent an eloping student from straying into traffic and slow them down and give caregivers time to respond. This will provide additional protection for both the students and the motoring public. So what I have up on the screen right now is drawing A1 from this amended site plan application.
So just while you're on that, you're calling this Exhibit A1, is this?
No, it's
What-
drawing A1. I'm
Drawing,
sorry.
okay,
It was
just wanna make
part of
sure.
the package, the same drawing that you folks have in your package, with the revision date of July 8th, 2026. I'm just going to zoom in on the plan part of it a little bit closer so we could have a discussion. So as I mentioned before, we have 2 previous applications and approval. We have the site plan application and we have the minor application. The fence around the employee parking lot, which is on the western side, northwestern side, is a 6-foot-high chain link fence that was part of the original approval. We're not modifying that. I'm just mentioning it so we have a discussion about all of the fencing on site. So the 6-foot-high chain link fence around the employee parking lot on the northwest corner is part of the original approval, not changing, just to have a discussion about all the fencing on site. The next area that we had as part of our original approval was the playground fencing. The playground fencing, the original site plan approval, it was approved as a 5-foot-high chain link fence. What we're proposing to do is to change it to a 6-foot-high fence. And as requested at the last meeting, we're proposing to have it match the balance of the decorative fencing on site to be an aluminum picket fence to match everything else. So those were the 2 fences that were part of the original submission. The one is unchanged. The playground, we would like to increase it to a height of 6 feet and make it a decorative fence. Now, for the minor site plan application, what we did was we had an application for the parking lot and the entrance drive along West Mount Pleasant Avenue. And what our original proposal was to have a 5-foot-high fence around that parking lot. What was approved was a 4-foot-high fence, and we're seeking to have that be a 6-foot-high fence also. Again, so if a student were to get out of the building, it would give the faculty a chance to respond to try to retrieve them without them getting out onto the roadway. In addition to the minor site plan approved the fence along the east side of the parking lot, along the south side of the parking lot, and along the west side of the parking lot. What we're also seeking to do is to connect that fence from that ending point to the building and to provide manual gates there. The idea is that there would be a security guard in a car or monitoring that could keep the gates closed or open the gates as needed for people to come in and out. So that's the 3rd fence. The 4th one are the fences around the doors on Oakner Parkway. This was also a part of our minor site plan application. And what we had proposed for the minor site plan application were 5-foot-high fences with a gate facing away from Oakner Parkway. We'll provide, they're going to be outward opening, and we'll provide an emergency opening device for the gate so somebody could push it and open the gate. Again, the idea is to try to give the student, if a student were to get loose, it's to try to give the faculty and staff enough time to retrieve them before they get away. So those fences were approved at 5 feet high, and again, we'd like to have them be 6 feet high for the enhanced security. There was one other fence that we're adding that I don't believe requires any variance approval, but we're here for the amended site plan, so we're going to talk about it also. And it's the fencing that goes across the entrance drives. So the idea would be that the fence would be open during drop-off, and after the drop-off was complete, the fences could be manually closed across the drop-off lanes and the entrance to the drop-off, and then they would be opened up when the school was emptying so that they could be, allow free access for the vehicles in and out. One of the things that we talked about at the last meeting was that when school is not in session, all of the fences, all of the gates will be open completely, so there's free access to and from the site. And for the automatic gate, which is at the southwest corner of the building, we would anticipate that that would be an automatic opening gate from people leaving and from people entering in vehicles, but it would not be open for pedestrians so that a student couldn't activate it. So that if there was some type of an emergency during school hours, the fire department or the ambulance would be able to get in to take care of that emergency from either Route 10 or from Oakner Parkway.
Do you have to queue on 10 to get into the gate?
I'm sorry?
Do you have to queue on Route 10 to get through the gate?
The gate is very far off Route 10.
Okay.
The gate is at the corner of the building.
I see it.
And again, the idea is that,
Those are crosswalks that you're showing on the?
Correct.
Okay, got it.
the idea is that the gates are going to be open until all the staff is there.
Got it.
And then after staff is there, then the gates can be closed, and then they could function in that capacity.
Good.
So there was some conversation about the buffering for the playground fence that was part of the original application. So these drawings are the original approved site plan drawings that were completed for resolution compliance. Should we mark it as an exhibit, or is it okay because they were already approved? I just have a... Okay, so the whole package would be A1?
Yeah, just explain what it is, how
Sure.
many sheets? Is that-
I have to zoom in. So it's 21, looks like 21 sheets, maybe 22 sheets. And the revision is revised for resolution compliance with the date of April 11th, 2023. And I'm just going to go to the landscape plan just so we could have a quick look at the buffering around the playground fence area. It's sheet number 14 of that set. So what I have up on the screen now, on the right side is the entry drive with the trees along the entry drive. The playgrounds are in the center, and then along the Oakner Parkway side, which is at the eastern side or the lower part of the sheet, we have street trees to supplement. They're going to be London plane trees, which are going to match the other London plane trees along Oakner Parkway. And then we have a row of evergreen trees along the fence, providing a buffer for the fence as well as some separation from the road for the play area. It should also be noted that the elevation of the play area is about 7 or 8 feet lower than the elevation of the street at the entry drive. So it's quite a bit lower. The fence is also going to be much lower than street grade. So I'm back to the submittal, the submission package that you folks have from this last submitted for the same date of July 8th. And I'm going to go to the sheet A2, which is amended site plan and the landscape plan. So one of the issues that we had that wasn't anticipated was JCP&L came in to relocate the poles, which was a requirement for the Canterley Place project and the Route 10 widening and the intersections improvements. They removed all the trees in the front of the property. And they relocated the poles, and the relocation of the poles prohibited us from putting the London plane trees that we had originally anticipated for street trees along West Mount Pleasant Avenue. So what we did is we changed to a tree that would be well-suited to be able to grow underneath the power lines and in and around the utilities that exist in the area. Those are the columnar sergeant cherry trees. So along the fence, and I'm gonna get into some more detail with the elevations and the renderings afterwards, but I just want to explain it on the plan now, and then we'll go to that afterwards. So I'll start on the western side. So if you look at the, where my cursor is kind of in the top center of the screen, that's our sign. If you remember, the sign for Canterley Place is on the corner of Oakner Parkway and West Mount Pleasant. So we were forced to relocate our sign near our entrance drive. That was part of the original application. And a part and parcel of what we're doing here is the planting on that corner of the fence is a low juniper so that we can maintain visibility to our sign. There was a lot of concern when we did the original application about having people be able to see the sign in time to be able to turn into our driveway. So the buffer planting starts about 20 feet in from there to keep the line of sight open to the sign. And then from there, we have a rhythm of boxwood plants that are, I believe, 30 to 36 inch tall at planting. And then we go to a group of junipers, which are 6 to 7 feet at planting. And then we go back to boxwoods, and then we go back to the juniper. So there's some variation in height. And where the boxwoods are with the lower height, that's where we have the columnar sergeant cherry trees, which are generally a lower branch tree. So the idea is that we have about 50% of the fence screened by the upright juniper trees, and the other 50% is screened to a height of about 3 feet. And then with the lower branch trees, it's kind of catching it on both ends. I think it's really important that we have visibility to the school building from the site, from the roadway, so people can see that the school's there, especially given our challenges from a signage perspective. At the ends of the parking lot on the west end as well as on the east end, we have additional plantings, hedges, and some other evergreen plantings. We also, on the Oakner Parkway side, as requested at the last meeting, I gave this a lot of thought and a lot of consideration. And sometimes, in my mind's eye, if you're trying to screen something, just putting an evergreen hedge around it calls more attention to it and makes it look worse. So what I went through a lot of different scenarios, and what I came up with is what you see on the screen before you, is I pulled the plantings away from the fence and created landscape islands in the lawn between the building and the sidewalk so that they're able to buffer the fencing as well as have an attractive look and feel to them and not just be a row of evergreen trees around a fence. So I did that for all 4 of the doors along Oakner Parkway. So I'm going to go to the renderings and the elevations where we could start to get a feel for. So I'll go to the renderings first. I think that tells the best story. So this is a view from kind of the center of the street from the Oakner Parkway and West Mount Pleasant Avenue. And you could see the building in the background, the London plane trees along Oakner Parkway. You can see the cherry trees in the foreground in front of the fence, the upright junipers, the boxwood. And then what we also did is we added a layer of perennials in front of all the evergreens to help provide some seasonal interest and make it a little bit of a nicer look and feel.
What will be the height of the tallest planting?
The tallest plantings would be the cherry.
Sorry, Andy. Yep.
The cherry trees are probably going to be 12 to 14 feet tall.
Okay.
The junipers are 6 to 7s, and the boxwoods are 30 to 36.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go to the rendering from the other point of view. And this is where you can see our sign, as well as the sign on the building. I just wanted to, for the sake of accuracy, say that the signs are not necessarily what they're supposed to be. They're just a graphic representation at this point. But I wanted to include some level of detail so that it was clear that they were the signs and they're the right size. The text on them is not yet complete. So this is from the west looking east. It's kind of standing what would be in the middle of Route 10 looking, but it was a nice way to see, again, how the trees and shrubs buffer the fence across the whole frontage. And the only area where the fence has any real visibility is that area right in front of the sign, where we need to keep some visibility open to be able to see the sign.
You expect that'll be sod or planted grass?
There's going to be a low juniper in front of it.
No, the grass in front of it.
Yeah, it'd be
Is that
grass.
sod?
I don't know if it's going to be sod or seed.
Okay.
What's the distance between the sidewalk and the fence? Or the beginning of the parking lot, which is pretty much one and the same?
So it varies. It looks like at its closest point, it's probably about 12 feet.
12 feet. And then the sidewalk is what, 3 or 4?
The sidewalk is probably four feet.
So you got 16 feet literally from the street to the beginning of the fence, and then you got a parking lot.
Yeah, if I had a paper drawing, I'd put a scale on it, but it's
Okay.
the PDF, it's a little bit
Also, in
hard.
your picture, again, understand that renderings depict what, make it look prettier, but if those trees are going to be of the size you're talking about, the sign on the building is a waste. You're not going to see it through those trees, except when the leaves are gone. You already got the approval for the sign, so it's not an issue, but I just, if that's what you're going to do, is that what you want to do?
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that we had both of these vantage points. So the junipers that are shown they're probably shown a little bit bigger than 6 to 7s. They might be shown at 7 to 8s. I was taking Mr. Ratner's advice to not show them much bigger than planting size.
It's 20 years later.
Yeah, it's not 20 years later. They're 6 to 7s is what's going in, and they're shown just over the fence, so they're probably a couple of years past. But I think that there's still going to be good visibility of the building coming westbound on Route 10, as well as eastbound on Route 10 also. So that's why we did those 2 vantage points. They're not, the trees that are being planted around the parking lot, the junipers, are not going to get much taller than probably 15 feet ultimately. So then I just wanted to also show, I prepared some elevations measured to scale, so there's no artistic license here. So the fence is 6 feet tall. The evergreen trees are probably shown 7 to 8. 6 to 7 is what we have. The evergreen shrubs are about 3 feet tall. We have them going in at 30 to 36. So I think it's a pretty accurate to scale. You could get a good feel for what that's going to look like across the front. And then if you look at the other elevation, this is what we're doing for the Oakner Parkway door areas. So we have skip laurels in the center and inkberry on the sides, again with a row of perennials around them. So we're providing some softening, some buffering, but not necessarily just a soldiered hedge around those doors. And I felt that that was really the best way to approach this. The other thing that you have to remember is for most of the building along Oakner Parkway, the London plane trees along the street are very large, and they almost extend to the building. So that area is almost always in shade. And so anything that we're doing there with the fencing and stuff, there's not going to be that stark contrast of, light and dark. It's already a little bit lower than the street. And with the trees there, it's giving you a little bit of a buffer already.
The size of the fence that is going to be on that side of the building facing Oakner, that hasn't changed. That was always going to be 6 foot. right?
What we had
Those were
approved from the
5.
minor, what we had
And you
approved from
want
the
those
minor,
at 6 feet.
we would like 6 feet for all the fencing. That's what we're asking.
I'm trying to understand the difference. I don't want to finish your landscape.
Okay. So that's I think pretty much everything that I have on landscape. Would like to have some conversation and questions.
Have you, let me ask you, did you have the opportunity to review the engineering planning reports?
Yes, sir, I have.
Do we have any issue complying with any of the comments?
So,
offered?
I mean, if you want to go by them item by item, but no, I don't.
We don't need to go by item, if you just are in agreement with all
Yep.
conditions or suggestions.
So initially, there was a lot of objection when we were before the minor site plan with regard to fencing on the front of the property. And again, other than the Verizon building or whoever the major tenant is on that building right now, there is no fencing on any property, and most of the properties are way set back. You don't even see the parking lot. This one has a parking lot front and center right on the street. So there was obviously concern about that when we granted the approval. We granted it with a 4-foot because the testimony that came before us was that was to keep the children, and clearly an important point, and nobody wants to jeopardize the health and welfare and safety of the children that are in the school. But I'm trying to understand the difference between 4 feet and 6 feet. Unless this is going to be a lot older children that can climb over the top of a fence after they've gotten out of the building and across the parking lot.
Is it all right if I call Mr. Berger up just to address that? You need to get up to the microphone.
There's a mic right
Or
there.
there's one right there.
That's all right. This is working. So,
And you're still under oath as well?
yes, nothing's changed in my life except this building is. But after we went through all of that, quite honestly, as the principal and the assistant principal and the other staff came to the building, they've had a number of experiences that I mentioned last time, where where we are now in Verona, we've had children run all the way down from where we are, down to Bloomfield Avenue, and have crossed the road. And they said, we have got to increase the size of this fence. We have 9th graders in that building that are quite tall. They're as tall as I am. And we have got to put every legal, fire-approved barrier to slow them down that we can. We're planning to have security guards monitoring on the outside if they even do broach those fences, because some of them might be able to know how to open it, others will not. And in addition to that, I mentioned last time, we spent thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on cameras. We're doing everything we can, because the biggest vulnerability for us is the distance between the front of the building and Route 10 and the speed with which cars are coming down there. We had a board member who had a terrible accident on Route 10 recently, just over there. So we are really concerned. And so that's what changed from the time we had the conversation. Me, the CEO guy, and then I go back to the troops, and they're like, wait a minute. This is super dangerous. We now have kids that are really tall. We're seeing them running down the road. We really need a taller fence. What is the size of the fencing you have in Verona? That's the problem. It's lower, and it's not working. And they're easily scaling those fences.
When you say lower, what is this?
4 feet.
4 feet.
And it's not working at all.
So they're just jumping over the 4-foot
They
fence?
sure are. Super fast, and they're really fast, which is also why in this building we're doing something different. We're going to have security guards posted outside, so if they do breach the fence, we will have a final line of defense, which is the security outside the building.
Have you suggested electricity in the fence? That's a kid. That's a joke.
I know. He didn't say that.
I said it, but I'm kidding.
Yeah. No.
You don't have to answer that.
So that's the context, what happened since we last met,
Okay.
and we talked about this.
Thank you.
Yep.
So the only other question that I have, again, is concern as to the visibility from the front of the street. That's an enormously busy street, granted. Understand the reason for the 6 feet fence, but not seeing it and not seeing the top of it is, for me personally, something that as I drive up Route 10, literally from Livingston all the way up to Parsippany, fortunately, there's more green than there is, especially on that side, not so much on the on the southern side. There's a lot of cars and parking in the front. I know we've spent a lot of time trying to avoid that. There's cars going to be parked there, but what can we do to try to not to see as much of them beyond what you're doing right now?
I really worked hard to come up with a plan that I thought was buffering the fence sufficiently, as well as an attractive solution. That's really what I
Is this
worked.
going to be irrigation throughout it?
I would assume so.
Because I would hate to see all of this and then have it die in
Yeah, I
15
completely
minutes.
agree. It's a big investment, obviously, just in the landscaping, so Mr. Berger had said affirmative relative to irrigation.
I've been before this board enough to understand a lot of the concerns. And, you know, at the minor site plan, if you remember, we had good conversation about this. And, you know, we took what we did, what we agreed to there, and we changed it to add in the taller junipers to provide some solid buffer for parts of the fence, and then dropping down to lower plantings where the cherries are going to be. Because if we were to put the evergreen trees along the whole length of the fence, I think it would obscure the view into the building, and I think it would be counterproductive.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from the board?
Yeah, I have a question. Your gating, once the school is in session and something happens, how do the gates open? They
So-
open automatically in the fire alarm? Are they tied to the fire alarm system? How do emergency services get onto the property?
The gate, the automatic gate is going to have some kind of a ground loop or automatic opener for any vehicle approaching it from either direction.
Okay, all right. The other thing, in the vegetation on the egress doors on the Oakner side, how close is that vegetation going to be to the edge of that gate?
It's not near it.
Oh, it's not?
No, there's no obstruction from somebody walking, I could show you on the plan, there's no obstruction from somebody walking out the gate. So the gate is on the right side, looking at it, and the plantings are in front of it.
Okay.
So they'd be able to go out. The whole idea, what we were trying to do is, even if somebody were to get out the gate, that they'd be heading away from Route 10. That was the goal.
The other thing, the existing trees in Oakner Parkway, they're going to be taken down or remain?
No, they're going to remain.
They are, okay.
If you look at the plan, the dark circles that you can see on this screen right now are proposed, and then the circles with the circle in the center that are shaded, those are the existing trees that are all going to remain.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think we need to just hear a little bit of planning testimony, because I don't believe we covered that at the last meeting.
So we're seeking amended site plan approval and variance relief for fence height in the front yards of a non-residential district. To recap, the changes to the fence plan will provide an added level of safety for the Spectrum 360 students. The change in height to 6 feet along West Mount Pleasant Avenue and Oakner Parkway will be mitigated by the enhanced plantings that are proposed. Additional fences are proposed to secure parking lots and access drives, which are lower profile areas with decreased visibility from the street. The fencing will also help the motoring public by containing the students and thereby preventing possible accidents. What we're seeking is a C variance. The variance is a C2 or flexible C variance. Under the Municipal Land Use Law 40:55C2, a C2 variance does not require demonstration of a hardship. The board can find that the proposed plan with deviations represent a better planning alternative than a conforming plan to meet the positive criteria, including that the purposes of the municipal land use law would be advanced by a deviation from the zoning ordinance requirements, and that the benefits of the deviation would substantially outweigh any detriment. So we'll talk about the negative criteria. No variance or other relief can be granted without showing that such a variance can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and it will not substantially impair the intent or purpose of the zone plan and zoning ordinance. This application modifies the approved site plan and minor site plan by increasing the heights of the previously approved fences from 4 feet or 5 feet to 6 feet, and additional fencing and gates to secure parking lots and drives. These proposed changes to the fence are minor and further mitigated by enhanced landscaping. The proposed fences that are visible from the street are decorative and greater than 50% open. The proposed variances will cause no substantial detriment to the public good and will not substantially impair the intent and purpose of the zone plan and zoning ordinance. Under NJ 40:55D70C2, municipal board is empowered to grant a variance in an application or appeal as it relates to a specific piece of property where the purposes of the municipal land use law would be advanced by a deviation from the zoning ordinance and where the benefits of the deviation would substantially outweigh any detriment. So for the purposes of the Act, the municipal land use law, 40:55D2, that would be advanced by this variance. I have a few of them. The first one I would say would be A, to encourage municipal action to guide the appropriate use or development of lands in a manner that will promote the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. It's important to note that this is a special needs school, and the variance relief sought is to protect its vulnerable students, thereby protecting the general welfare by preventing accidents. And B, to secure from fire, flood, panic, and other natural or man-made disasters. The variance relief will serve to protect the students and the motoring public by preventing the eloping students from straying onto the roadway. Also, G, to provide sufficient space in appropriate locations for a variety of agricultural, residential, commercial, industrial uses and open space, both public and private, according to the respective environmental requirements in order to meet the needs of all New Jersey citizens. And this will meet the needs of the Spectrum 360 students by helping protect them from the busy roadway. And then I, to promote desirable visual environment through creative development techniques and good civic design and arrangements. The changes made in the variance sought are part of a comprehensive landscape and site plan which will protect the students and be an attractive part of the township roadside landscape. In closing, it's my opinion that the board can approve this amended site plan and grant the requested variance without negatively impacting the master plan, township zoning, and with no detriment to public good. I believe the benefits of protecting the student safety and the motoring public substantially outweigh any detriment. That's the end of my planning testimony. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board? Seeing none.
We have nothing further, Chairman.
So just to, any members of the public have any questions for these witnesses as to their testimony? Seeing none, any members of the public want to make a sworn statement for or against the application? Seeing none. Okay, just wanted to dot our i's and cross our t's.
Nothing further, Chairman.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate the board's consideration in this
Thank you.
regard.
So with that, absent any objection and absent any motion for a continuance, the evidentiary record is closed, and no further testimony or evidence shall be heard or received. So any comments, questions by the board?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the revised landscaping plan. Further to our conversation at the last meeting, I think it's probably, if it happens the way it's depicted here, will make it more comfortable in terms of the view from Route 10. And so I would move to approve this motion. Make a motion.
Yeah, I'll second and I'll join. I thank Spectrum 360 for their efforts, and I think the picture's worth 1,000 words. If we had that last meeting, we might have got done last meeting, but it went a long way to show that I think it'll look fine, and I think I'm convinced you've met the C2 standard. Clearly, the benefits of protecting the students outweigh any detriment, so I second.
Anything further?
As an additional comment, and echoing what Barry had said as well, is that I appreciate the benefit of the additional landscaping to help soften what that is. And for the purposes of precedent, I think we should be clear in the resolution that we're agreeing to the height of that fence in that location for the purposes of security of keeping children in, not keeping people out.
Because I think you've heard from the board, none of us want to see, fencing up and down Route 10. But I think, the manner in which you've done this, certainly, makes it, visually better, but even more importantly, I think, necessary for the protection of the kids. The last thing any of us want to see is somebody getting hurt.
Yeah, you're the professionals, you're telling us that's what you need for safety. I think that's paramount.
So we have a motion and a second. Jackie?
But before, I just want to refer to Rocco. He called out two conditions, 1 and 7, in his memo dated July 14th, 2026. I want to make sure you're okay with that.
I know we were okay with everything, but,
It's just number 7 is the site plan sheet should include a signature block for the board if
Oh,
approved
yes.
is granted. Number 1
Yep.
is the site plan denote that all fences shall be black in color, greater than 50%, so
Yes.
I'm going to include those two then in whatever
yep.
is voted on. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I make also a recommendation for a condition in terms of any landscaping dies within the first year is replaced in same condition?
Very good.
Mr. Ratner?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Dufford?
Yes.
Ms. Wishnu in place of Member Reber?
Yes.
Ms. Khanna in place of Member Diner?
Yes. Member Diners?
He missed the first meeting. Mr. Santola?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you very much, everybody, really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
everybody.
Motion was by
Best of luck to
Sam,
you.
and the second was by Barry.
Welcome to town.
They're already in town.
Not like this.
Thank you. I don't even know why I brought that in.
That's funny.
The next matter scheduled for this evening is minor subdivision with variances for Block 4804, Lot 14, 56 Burnett Street, application number 2026-44-MSUV BV, 56 Burnett LLC, located in the R4 zone.
Thank you, Jackie. Welcome.
Good evening. Diana McGovern from the law firm of Gassion and Pomaco on behalf of the applicant, 56 Burnett Street, LLC. Tonight, my client, 56 Burnett, LLC, is the owner of 56 Burnett Street, which is located in the R4 residential zone. We are seeking to demolish the existing old house, subdivide the property, which is currently 22,406 square feet, or divide it into two 12,962 square feet. But when we get with the 125 feet of the right-of-way, it ends up being 6,482 square feet per lot, where 9,375 square feet is required. The proposed houses would conform to all of the other bulk standards. And since the planner issued his report, which is June 8th, 2026, the window well, which had protruded into the side yard, we've moved that to the rear. So we have no
So
other
that variance isn't
variances.
required either?
Sorry?
That variance isn't required either then?
Oh,
Or no
yeah,
longer required?
Yeah, so we only have the one, and that's for the undersized lot square footage.
So C3 is no longer, so there's no variance for C3, it's just the C5?
C5.
Yes, yes. And we'll stipulate that we will meet all the other bulk requirements for the zone setbacks.
As a condition, size and everything?
As a condition, yes.
Okay.
We're not seeking to make it a large house. It's just, this is just what we're left with in terms of your ordinance, the way it reads. Tonight, we propose to do the subdivision by deed. So
Okay.
that's on the record. And I also note that the Essex County Planning Board issued their approval, which you have June 10th, 2026. That's already been provided to the board. Tonight I have two witnesses, Camille Wierzykowski, he's the managing member of 56 Burnett Street, LLC. And we also have Charlie Baldanza, who is a licensed architect and a planner for this evening.
Thank you.
I would like to call my first witness, Mr. Wierzykowski.
Counsel, if you could have all your witnesses come up, I want to swear everybody in, including the board professionals, all at once.
Great.
Okay? So if everybody raise your right hand, you swear or affirm that the testimony you're going to provide in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And I said proceeding, but I should have said hearing.
I do. I do.
Okay. And again, just can you say and spell your name for the record, please?
Sure. Camille Wierzykowski, KamilWierzykowski. And I'm Charles Baldanza. Last name is Baldanza.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Camille, you're the managing member of 56 Burnett LLC?
Yes.
And you're the owner of the property?
Yes.
What is currently on the property?
Currently, it's a single-family home that's been abandoned for the past 7+ years. It's in really poor shape. It's overfilled with debris. We had an asbestos survey done. It's filled with asbestos. We need to get remediated. And actually, when my asbestos surveyor went in, he got attacked by 3 raccoons inside. So we had to have those, taken out. So it's really poor shape. Arguably, I think it's probably, I've done a lot of work in town, and I think it's probably the worst house in town at this point.
Okay. And what do you propose to do?
I propose to demolish the property and subdivide the property into 2 to fit the surrounding properties on that street and build 2 brand-new homes that would, be in line with what is currently being built on that street.
I know that there's some new construction going on across the street. Is it the proposed, the homes would be in keeping in terms of the size, similar in size to what's going on across the street?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if the board members have been by, but I did take a picture. If you'd like to refresh your memory as to what's going on across the street, I'm happy to hand that up. Yeah.
Mark, this is A1. A2. I just thought we were going to go in the order of testimony, but that's fine. We'll do this A2. A1 will be the, that's fine.
Camille, we don't have any architectural plans yet, but what would be your proposed number of bedrooms, if you have an idea on that?
It would be between 4 and 5 bedrooms.
All right, and then we've already stipulated we're going to conform to the habitable floor area and habitable floor area ratio, correct?
Yes,
So whatever is required under the ordinance, that would be what you'd be planning on building?
yes,
And a pull-down attic, because I know that's important here.
yes.
Okay. Now, I know you've had the opportunity to review the planner's report and the engineer's report. Is there anything in those reports that would give you pause? Are you willing to commit and have as a condition any of the recommendations by either the board engineer or the board planner? Board planner was June 8th, 2026, and the board engineer was June 2nd, 2026.
Yes, all the conditions are acceptable.
Okay. Now, I do know there's a neighbor here, and he has some concerns. He's lot 18, and you did have some communication with him. In terms of the back area, there's trees. There's a lot of trees. What's your plan in terms of the trees on the property?
Well, my plan is to keep as many of the trees as possible. We are proposing to remove some of the trees in the front that are within the building envelope. We will clear out some of the brush within the center of the yard to create a grass sodded backyard. But the trees that are on the perimeter of the property, we intend to keep. If we have to clear out some of the thorns and some of the, unnecessary brush, we will do so, to clean it up and make it look really nice, but we're not looking to, take down any mature trees on the perimeter of the property.
This is a very deep lot, and a lot of the trees are at the back. Those, for the most part, will probably remain.
Yes.
And I guess if there's any additional planting required by the board, we would be willing to add anything that the board might suggest?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think I have any more questions for you.
Are you building the houses across the street, John?
No, I am not.
Any other questions from the board? Well, the proposal on the size of the houses is basically to the max of what's allowed.
What's permitted?
But you're also asking for a 30% reduction in the allowable, for the variance, it's a 30% off of, actually a little bit more than 30% variance from what's allowed.
We're still providing square footage, the lots, because it's a very deep lot and it meets the width requirements. It's to the right-of-way issue. Our lots are still, in terms of square footage, actual square footage.
Yeah, they're going to be close to 11,277 square feet.
Just the way it's measured, 125 feet from the...
Right, because of that, it throws us off, but we have a lot of square footage. It's an oversized lot, very deep, and we meet the side yard we will meet the side yard setbacks and the front yard setback. It's just because of that unusual provision that you all have here.
The way we measure?
Yeah. Because while the zone requires 9,735, we have over 11,000, we don't come up with that based upon that calculation. But I do have my planner here to hopefully justify that. So if we could call our next witness.
First, let me see, is there any members of the public that have any questions for this witness regarding his testimony? Okay, thank you. Okay. You also have an opportunity at the end to make a comment, and then also you have the right to ask questions of the next witness as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Charlie, you're here testifying just a little bit about as an architect, right? Because we don't really have plans, but mostly as a planner,
Correct, and engineer.
And an engineer, that's
yeah.
right. Charlie we're wearing three hats tonight, so let's go through. Could you just give the board, you've been here before, but could you give your
Yes.
qualifications in terms of, are you a licensed engineer in the state of New Jersey?
Yes, I'm a licensed engineer, architect, and planner. My licenses are in good standing, and I've had the opportunity to appear before this board previously.
I'd offer Mr. Baldanza as an expert in the area of engineering, architecture, and planning.
Engineering, architecture, and planning, 3.
Yes.
Are there any questions from the board? Any objections? Seeing none, the board accepts you as an expert in those 3 areas.
Okay, so, Charlie, why don't we start with the location of the property and describe the existing site?
Okay. So as discussed, we're at 56 Burnett, Block 4804, Lot 14. We have a 22,406 square foot lot, which is obviously quite a bit greater than the 9,375 square foot required in the zone. Property fronts on Burnett. It's on the north side. We're in the R4 zone. It's a single-family use, which is permitted in the zone. Unusually deep lot. I shouldn't even say unusually deep. The standard lot size in the R4 zone is 125 by 75. So we have 216 and 212 foot depth. It's very slightly irregular. So you can see it's substantially greater than what's required in the zone. The existing home, according to tax records, you heard about this, the condition of it. It was built in 1925. Let me mention while I have so we're looking at the existing conditions and demolition plan. So we have the existing home, which is about roughly in the center of the property. There's a couple other outbuildings, which we obviously were intending to demolish. And you can also see the trees. There's many trees around the perimeter. There's a few trees that are closer to the house. We showed the ones that we're proposing to take down with the red X's. Of course, we're proposing to follow the tree ordinance and do the proper replacement for the trees. But we're really only cutting the ones that are close to the existing house in the building footprint. And that's what we're planning on doing. Now, I'm going to put up now the exhibit that we handed out, which is very simply the tax map sheet 48 with the property illustrated on it here. So let me zoom in a little bit to the neighborhood, because I think this gives a very good idea here. Okay, all right. I always have trouble with this program here. It's different than the one I have in my office. Okay. Okay, so the site, it's lot number 14, and we have 105-foot width on our existing lot. You can see the other properties in the neighborhood on Burnett and the adjoining streets. The majority of the lots are roughly 50 feet. So our lot stands out as one of the few, conforming or above performing lots in the neighborhood. Most of the lots are the 50 feet area, which I'm going to get into in a minute, but I do want to talk about, we spoke about the variances that are needed. So the two variances that we need are one on each lot, which is basically for the 125-foot, is the area within the 125-foot feet of the front right-of-way. So our lots are going to be 6479.9 and 6482.1. That's measured from the 125 feet. However, our proposed lot areas are going to be 11,128.5 and 11,277.5. So we're going to be significantly larger than
the minimum lot size that are required. So those are the two bulk variances, one on each lot for the proposed lots. Let me,
And how does that compare to the others in terms of
Okay.
square footage?
okay, I'm going to talk about that.
If I'm taking that order.
The lots in the immediate neighborhood, while we're looking at this tax map, that don't meet that 125-foot area criteria is substantial. So I reviewed the Essex County tax assessment records for all of the lots in the neighborhood, coming down, I think it's Harrison Avenue, East Harrison, Burnett, and then on East Hobart, so on both sides of Burnett. And compared to the lots, and, I compared the dimensions against that requirement. Of 24 nearby R4 lots that I was able to evaluate, so of 24 lots, 22, so I think that's greater than 90%, failed to meet the minimum lot area required within the 125 feet of the right-of-way line. So 19 of the 24 lots, or roughly three-quarters, fall short of the 9375 minimum square foot, even without applying the 120-foot measurement. So really, the only ones that seem to comply, obviously I didn't do a detailed, look at any surveys or anything, but, the ones that seem to really only comply were on some of the corner lots and some unusually shaped large lots in the neighborhood. And just about everything else is under 70 feet wide and 65, you can see 50s are very common. And then immediately next to us, we have basically 50 feet, 49.39, then 50.16 and 50.14 widths. So our proposed lot width is going to be 52.5. So we are right in there with the majority of the houses on the street. Let me put up the subdivision plans, and now we can see the proposed condition that we're talking about. We are proposing to basically divide the property essentially in half, and we're going to build two completely conforming houses. They conform with all the other bulk requirements of the zone: front yard setback, side yard setback, rear yard setback, habitable floor area ratio, building height, the entire zoning chart. We are compliant on all of that. And we as Camille discussed, we have not prepared architectural plans. We are showing these as, basically a concept that could be done. And you heard about the number. We're planning on 4 to 5 bedrooms. But whatever the case may be, we are going to comply with all the bulk standards and that are applicable in the R4 zone.
What about the existing and proposed grading and drainage on the site?
Okay, we're not planning on changing the drainage pattern. The drainage pattern, basically runs gently from the north down to Burnett. We're not planning on changing the grading patterns to any great extent. We're conducting the roof water into underground leader drains that will discharge away from the homes and away from the neighboring properties. We're going to comply with all applicable codes and requirements determined by the township professionals, including the stormwater management, lot surface drainage ordinance. And I'll also add that we, from my point of view as engineer and architect, I don't see any reason why we can't comply with all of the issues and conditions raised in both the planning letter and the engineering letter.
Does the master plan make any reference to this area?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think as the board knows, this is a sort of a small little piece of the R4's district. So it's a little bit of an unusual part of it. So now the master plan did recognize, in general, the R4 district, But it also called out this, the Burnett Street neighborhood specifically, and talked about how many, non-conforming lots are in the area. And it did talk about the setback requirements in the neighborhood. But what I thought was interesting was that it specifically called out this neighborhood as not having many conforming lots. So, I mean, it certainly does affect like an awareness on the township's part that the zoning standards in this neighborhood are definitely unusual, compared to the rest of town.
Okay. With respect to this project, can you give the board the reasons why this would just be justified under a C2 criteria? I don't know if we.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So getting into the planning and the justifications for the variance, under the C2 bulk variances, as the board knows, we need to establish the conditions, that were established in the, especially in the Kaufman case and the other case law. It has to relate to a specific piece of property. Purposes of the MLUL have to be advanced by the deviation from the zoning ordinance requirement. The variance has to be granted without substantial detriment to the public good. The benefits of the deviation substantially outweigh any detriment, and the variance will not substantially impair the intent and purpose of the zoning plan and zoning ordinance. So just going through those specific piece of property, we discussed how this proposal relates specifically to the characteristics of the subject property. We have an unusually deep lot, 216 to 222 feet in depth, where 125 is really the standard. The granting of the requested variances really don't affect any other properties at all. Purposes of the MLUL, there's certainly three in particular that I think are furthered. That's purpose A, to encourage the municipal action. I won't read it all, the general welfare. The proposed lots are going to be the 11,277.5 and 11,128.5 respectively, are more than 15% larger, to address a comment that was brought up before. So that's more than 15% larger in total than the 9375 square foot R4 minimum. And more closely resemble or more closely conforming to the R4 zoning district lot size than the existing oversized single lot. Purpose E is to promote and establish the establishment of appropriate population densities and concentrations that will contribute to the well-beings of persons, neighborhoods, communities, and regions, preservation of the environment. So the R4 district calls for the 9375 square feet, which means that the intention was that a property of this size, 22,406 square foot, should support two single-family homes. It wasn't meant to be one large lot because it's so much bigger than what the zone envisioned of the 9375. So to me, in my opinion, the proposed two single-family homes are therefore more closely conforming to the zone plan than the existing single lot. The two resulting lots will conform in overall area and are only marginally insufficient with regard to the 125-foot right-of-way situation. Okay, and then finally, purpose I, which is to promote a desirable visitor environment through creative development techniques and good civic design and arrangement. So we're proposing two modern homes that meet the needs of today's population on two lots that more closely match the existing neighborhood in size and more closely comply with the intent. So I think we are certainly creating a much more desirable visual environment, and we're definitely using creative development techniques and good civic design and arrangement in the proposed subdivision of the property. So let's talk about the public good. The public good in this case is the immediate residential neighborhood. I think we can say that the variances can be granted without any substantial detriment to the public good. The houses are going to resemble the other homes in the immediate neighborhood. They're otherwise fully conforming with the bulk requirements. despite not having that 9375 square feet within 125 feet of the right-of-way. As reflected on the neighborhood tax map exhibit, the overwhelming majority of the surrounding R4 lots already share the same characteristic in lot size, so granting the variance does not introduce anything unusual or foreign into the character of the neighborhood. It simply allows the subject property to be developed consistent with the prevailing lot pattern already established around it. So, moving to the benefits and detriments, the benefit to the public good from the proposed development, again, is the creation of 2 new modern homes on 2 lots in conformance with the zone plan, rather than 1 oversized lot. The roof drainage is going to be directed into underground piping, discharged away from neighboring properties. The site will be graded appropriately. Again, I really believe the neighborhood will benefit from the attractive contemporary architectural design, and the new homes will be built to the latest building codes, including current energy efficiency standards, and therefore there's no substantial detriments to the public good from the approval of the proposal. So let me also talk about the last leg of the requirements for the C2, the intent and purposes of the zoning regulations and master plan. I mentioned how the master plan does talk about the Burnett neighborhood. Let's say there will be no substantial detriment to the zoning regulations and master plan. I looked at some of the goals of the master plan of 2018. 3 of them, to preserve and enhance the primarily residential character of the community. 2, to maintain a balance of residential, business, and public uses. And 3, to preserve and improve the quality of life. The replacement of this existing 1925 dwelling with 2 new modern homes for the benefit and enjoyment of its current and future residents is consistent with all 3 goals of the master plan, and the proposed improvement will in fact advance the goals and recommendations of the master plan. Therefore, these bulk variances can be granted without substantially impairing the intent and purposes of the master plan. So, quite simply, in conclusion, in my professional planning opinion, there's no substantial detriment to the zone regulations, and for these reasons and my entire testimony, the board can grant these variances for the minimum lot area within 125 feet of the right-of-way, as the benefits substantially outweigh any possible detriments.
Mr. Minor?
I have, yeah. Shocking, I have a question. So what we're approving, so we're clear, is not a house. We're just approving a subdivision. The ultimate house, you're going to have to submit an application to the planning board. So the window well question really is of no issue for us. And we're not approving that.
No, but we are going to say there's going to be no required variances, and it's not submitted back to the planning board once. You don't need a site plan on a single-family home, so it would go into the building department.
It would go into the building department.
Yeah, and it would be all up to them.
If in fact, what you're showing on here with the window well, which was brought out by our planner, was to be shown, you would have to go to the zoning board to get an approval or change that.
Right.
This board is not approving that.
Correct.
We're just approving the subdivision lines.
Correct.
I just want us to be clear.
Yeah, but the applicant has agreed to conditions to comply with all the R4 zoning requirements and not go to the zoning board.
In which case, then that would come out.
Correct.
Okay. And as long as that's what's going to be in the resolution?
Yes.
Okay,
Right, they'll be
that's
working
fine.
with the building department to make sure that we are complying with all of those requirements.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Questions from the public as to this witness? You can come up to the microphone, name and address, please.
My name is Lou Paleo. I'm at 25 East Hobart Gap Road.
How do you spell that? How do you spell your last name?
Puleo.
Thank you.
I'm lot number 18, which would be at the end of the property. So after discussing with them and what they were going to do, I'm pretty much satisfied. My only concern was some kind of buffer zone. There are a lot of trees, as long as the trees stay there.
So I guess your question is, what are you doing with the trees that are there? I think is really what the question is.
Okay, yeah, I can answer that.
We talked about it,
Right.
but both
I
of, Charlie, you
understand.
want to do it? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start because I can answer the question. First of all, I just want to show you, sir, this is your property is 18. So you're to the rear, you know, obviously to the very far back of our property, you front on East Hobart Gap Road. So you're in the extreme rear of our subdivision. So then if you were to look on our proposed subdivision plan, where the hand is this gentleman's lot. So he backs up to the rear of our property. My understanding that what the builder is planning on doing is, this is labeled on the survey as heavily wooded. So this was the testimony, and I'm sure Camille could amplify it. But what I heard from Camille was he was going to not cut any trees down in the rear of his property. This is where he was discussing, he was going to clean up the brush. He was going to take care of the undergrowth and, in general, clean up the area, but leave the trees in this rear area near this gentleman's property.
So could we get a rep as to how far off the property line we're not going to take the trees down?
I'm not planning on taking any trees down along the perimeter of that property.
35 feet, 50
Yeah,
feet?
since they want a dimension, like 6 feet around.
Something more
the-
objective.
The property line, a specific number is what the board is suggesting.
I'm not planning on taking any mature trees down in that rear yard. The heavily, wooded lot, as per that surveyor, I mean, they could not get in because there is thorns, there's underbrush, it's just a hot mess back there, so they couldn't get back there at all. So it's categorized as heavily wooded. I'd like to keep all the mature trees. There's no point of me to cut down a tree, pay somebody to cut it down, then have to replant it, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. I like to keep trees. I have a lot on Bennington facing to St. Paul. We didn't cut any trees down in the back that we want to do. It's a full wooded lot, We're keeping all the trees there as well. So I don't want to cut any trees down that I don't have to. I mean, we're going to look at trees that are potentially dead or unhealthy or a professional tells me, hey, this tree has to come down, then those trees will come down. But the healthy trees that are all around, I don't want to cut any of them down.
So you will get the trees checked for health?
Absolutely, I do
the
that
ones in
on
the
every
rear.
single project that I have in town.
If we look, you see how you have the square right here on the, can we represent the cutting down?
I'm not going to cut any of them.
Okay, so if we look at the survey, the subdivision survey here, you can see there's an outline, and I'll show the gentleman in a second. It says 30-foot rear yard setback. Anything behind that, my client is that a fair statement to say that those trees are not going to be touched? Any tree that fits that definition, if it's scrub brush
He
or...
won't remove any live.
Any
mature
healthy
trees.
tree?
No
No.
healthy
So I think it's
trees
a
past that...
35-foot setback.
Past that 35-foot setback.
That's what we were looking for.
Yeah,
50,000.
that's the dimension. So, I'm going to show you.
Right, I looked at that.
So, this area here,
That's going to be untouched.
that one.
You're welcome to remove all the scrub and underbrush.
That's your yacht.
Maybe get some deer in there, they'll eat it pretty quick.
You want to put that in a resolution?
Yeah, I'll talk.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure they're coming across the street.
Yeah,
from the-
right.
from
One
the-
other comment with regard, I'm sorry, finish, just to his.
Do you have any other questions?
100% what they want to do, leave the perimeter trees, just clean out some of that underbrush that's there, and that's fine.
That's what it looks like that's happening.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Maybe they could put up, I don't know, maybe some shrubs or something, some whatever, some small things. But I think for the most part, I'm okay with what they're planning on.
Thanks for coming out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you. Mr. Steiner?
Again, the lot to the north, as you're looking at the lot, the one on the right from Burnett, the one that doesn't have the houses backing up to it. Again, my only concern was, and I don't want to dictate, but I just ask consideration when you're cleaning those areas, any beneficial landscaping along that line that you might do, because I understand the volume of this, of the new house is going to be fairly substantial, similar to what's across the street. And the house that's currently to the right is one of the older homes that are much smaller, and just to soften the impact consideration.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, anything further?
We have nothing else. Thank you.
Any members of the public wish to make a sworn statement for or against the application? Seeing none? Any closing remarks?
No, I think that we've proposed, we're just subdividing it. We're going to comply with all the other bulk variances, and I think the testimony is clear that this, we believe that it satisfies the C2 criteria as stated by our planning expert.
Thank you. So with that, the evidentiary record is closed. Any members of the board like to make a motion for or against the application?
Yeah, I'll make the motion. I'm satisfied they've met the C2 criteria. This is a neighborhood we've dealt with before. You look at the map, and virtually every lot there is the size these lots will be. So, and to get rid of an old, what sounds like a very dangerous almost house that's there, I'm going to move in favor of the application, and particularly recognizing their voluntary agreement to stay within all the bulk requirements, the R4 zone.
I'll second. And I also appreciate the applicant staying within the building requirements.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Foss?
Yes.
Mr. Ratner?
Yes.
Mr. Diner?
Yes.
Mr. Dufford?
Yes.
Ms. Wishnew for absent member Reber?
Yes.
Ms. Connor for absent member Batani?
Yes.
Vice Chair Santola?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez?
Yes,
Thank you. Motion carries.
thank you. And that's it for this evening. If I could have a motion to adjourn?
Okay. good.
Thank you. I have a minor subdivision.
Counsel, do you have a business card?